An injury crisis that hit Manchester United again. Now, in this video, we'll be talking about KAMBWALA, Amrabat and Mount, all absenteed for the game against Coventry. We talk about what that does for Manchester United and how the predicted team of that means, because we've only got one fit centre-back available. We'll be talking about how Manchester United have got in this position. And listen, let's get straight into it. So Manchester United, listen, we know we've had a lot of injuries this season, but the amount of injuries we picked up in the past few weeks particularly have been absolutely astonishing. We've had, I think, everyone but Bruno, Dalot and Garnacho out from injury this season. And they've probably been our three most important players if you look at the grand scheme of things in our season. It's been a very, very poor season, and injuries have definitely played a part. And you look at how Manchester United have picked up injuries. I mean, Harry Maguire's our only fit centre-back going into this Coventry game, and that is a very, very huge... That's a huge worry. I mean, who do we play next to him? Obviously, obvious shouts that Fabrizio Romano have obviously reported as well. It's Casemiro to go at the back. And listen, Casemiro has been crap in midfield, so if he can do a job at centre-back for us, that'd be massively needed in a game like this. But if you look at that defensively, you've had Martinez, Maguire's been out injured. He's probably not even 100% fit himself. Varane, KAMBWALA's now out injured. Like, we've got so many injuries this season, and that's probably affected us massively. I mean, you can't say that we haven't been affected by these injuries. We've had our first two choice centre-backs are injured. We played most of the season with not even a left-back. Like, it has been difficult, but as I said, there's no excuses for that. Listen, we probably expected Mount to probably be on the bench anyway. We didn't even think Amrabat would have a start anyway. So those two players, yes, they do have an impact on the team, but I don't, particularly Mount, I thought he probably would have had a game. But defensively, we look like we're going to be struggling. I mean, Coventry, obviously we're going to face Manchester City if we do beat Coventry in the final. It's not going to be an easy game, and you can't take any game for granted, and this game's going to be really, really tough now. I mean, look at the change that have to be made. No KAMBWALA, and he was starting to get into some decent form, to be fair to him. Looking like we were going to need him. We don't know the extent of his injury yet, but all we do know is that he's injured and he will be out of the game. As I said, it's looking like a Maguire-Casemiro partnership, and it's consistent injuries again that obviously have halted Manchester United. Over 60 cases of illness or injury this season, which is absolutely amazing. I think that must be a record. I mean, it has to be, because listen, that could be the last thing at Manchester United. If Erik ten Hag wins this FA Cup, his job at Manchester United probably increases by a little bit. He probably gets a bit more support from the fans. And listen, whether we do win the FA Cup, I did say in my preview, Will has a big chance of whether he stays. I actually don't think it will anymore, because it depends how we win it, and I don't think we will win it anyway, because we've got Manchester City in the final if we do get past Coventry, and that is a huge, huge game in itself. So we've got to be very, very careful. But this game against Coventry is huge. And listen, with Mount not being in the squad at all, I mean, we've got McTominay back, but I don't know if he's 100% quite fit. Anthony's back. They're boosting itself. But defensively, it's gonna be a real struggle. I don't think Dalot, if we're being honest, Wan-Bissaka have looked good these past few games. And listen, you gotta be honest. You gotta give the criticism that they deserve, because they haven't. The performances that we expect from the players at our club have been nowhere near to the standard that we expect, and that's something that we need to look out for and need to take seriously, because we haven't been putting in the performances that we need. I mean, we've got to do something at centre back, and whether that means bringing in Maguire with a Casemiro, with a McTominay, they're probably the two players who can play there. And listen, Casemiro's played at centre back before for Real Madrid. He might have even played there before for Manchester United in some games, so he definitely has played there before. But will we look comfortable there? We don't know. I mean, what does that do to the midfield as well? Is it an Eriksen, Mainu, Bruno? Could I do certainly think Mainu and Bruno will be the two main starters? Now, who replaces Casemiro in that midfield? We've got no Amrabat, whether that's McTominay. I don't certainly think Eriksen has got the legs to do it. And is Eriksen 100%? Is McTominay 100% fit since coming back from injury? So it is a huge dilemma. So I'll give you my predicted team again. Obviously, I think Onana, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka would be our fullbacks. Centre-backs, it will be Casemiro and Maguire. I mean, I think over 30 partnerships. And then we've had that centre-back this season. That's another one to add to the table. Maguire and Casemiro. Listen, they've just got to see out the game. And that's what we got to do. I mean, it's going to be, 90, maybe 120 minutes of football. Hopefully, we can get it done in 90 minutes. But with the Manchester United performances this season, nothing's guaranteed. So we got to be careful with that. Into midfield, I'd probably have to throw McTominay in there, just for the fact that I don't really trust Eriksen to have the legs in the game. And one thing you can say about McTominay, he will provide legs in that game. And I think that's something that we need. If you want quality on the ball, which in a game against Coventry you should be expecting, Ten Hag may go for someone like Ericsson, but I would go McTominay, Mount, McTominay, Kobe, and Bruno. Now, one thing that you could see happen is probably Kobe mainly going into that 6 role and maybe having McTominay as that 8, or maybe Bruno as that 8. That could be something we look to do. I mean, put Kobe at the 6, Bruno at the 8, and McTominay as the 10. That could be another avenue that Manchester United explore. And to be fair, thinking about it, it's probably the most logical option to go for, because McTominay can't play that 6, and out of Kobe and McTominay, I'd probably want to see Kobe at that 6. It's a game against Coventry where realistically they're in the Championship, we should be attacking them, and we should be scoring a lot of goals against them and getting this game over and done with. If we struggle in this game, it's an absolute embarrassment. Now, the front three will obviously be Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho, I assume. I probably wouldn't go for that front three, but the absentees that we have are absolutely massive in this game. I mean, you look at no Martinez, no Varane, no KAMBWALA, no Evans, no Lindelof, no Shaw, no Malacia, no Mount, no Amrabat, no Martial. Like, we're missing a huge amount of players, and this game against Coventry is huge. You got to look at the defensive and the medical department for this. Having 60 cases of injuries, there must be something going on behind the scenes. There's been talked about Erik ten Hag's really intense training sessions. That could be a big part of it, but we are really unsure, and we need to see something positive for Manchester United, and getting this win in the FA Cup will be massively important. We'll be keeping you up to date with what goes on, match reaction, player ratings and whatnot after the game. But listen, it's huge. The game tomorrow is probably the biggest game of the season and with the most impetus on it. So Erik ten Hag and his players have got to do everything they can to try and get the win and try and see that they can, because the last few performances have certainly not been good enough. And with the injuries that we have defensively in midfield, it does make that job tougher, but realistically, I think there's decent options that can come in there. Casemiro can slot in. He's going to have to do a job at centre-back. Whoever comes into midfield, they're going to have to do a job. And listen, it's going to be a really important game for us. But yeah, injury crisis has hit Manchester United again. Thanks for watching.